Hi stitchy friends, it's Chari. Welcome back to my channel and another FLOSSTUBE video. Today is FLOSSTUBE 24. Oh, it's starting to rain outside, which is amazing news. In case you're new here, I live in Asheville, North Carolina, in Western North Carolina, and we have been dealing with lots of wildfires lately, so the rain is a very good sign. Anyway, so I have a lot of things to share today that are not all cross stitch. I have some felt stitching to share. We're going to talk about the hands-on design Call Me Crafty Craft Room series stitch along. I've been stitching on that. Have a couple finishes, one new start, which is the stitch along, and a couple plans, I guess, that I am going to share, some things that I've kitted up. So let's flip the camera around. I am trying a different setup for filming today a little bit. So hopefully it works and everything turns out fine. Actually, before I flip the camera, let's talk about the stitch along so I can put my graphics up here. So I'll put it, let's put it over here. This is kind of how I've broken down the chart into 3 different sections. I am personally trying to stitch a section a week. That's sort of my goal. I started with part A. Which you'll see when I show you my progress. I'm actually changing up the colors, so if you didn't see that in the last FLOSSTUBE, you can go check that out and see how I'm changing my colors up a little bit, and I'll talk about that a little bit too. Let's see, the other thing I was going to say is I've had lots of comments about people don't have their charts yet, they're not ready to start. Well, there's no dates, like you can start whenever. I am not checking your work, giving you grades. We just want to see what you're stitching at your own pace. Start where you want to start. There's no rules like that. So please just share your progress. Tag me and tag Kathy because we like to see it and we like to reshare as well. So just so you know, there's no rules. You don't have to worry about when we start, when we end. This is going to last for a while because, as Kathy has told us, there are 2 more charts in the series coming, and there's also the little bonus chart, which I haven't even figured out how I'm going to do just yet. So just so you know, there's no rules. Please just stitch along with us. And you can find all this information with the chart breakdown and everything. I have posted it on the tab on my YouTube. I've also posted it on Instagram, and I think Kathy has shared it as well. And a couple other people have too. So that's the stitch along. I'll show you the progress when we go to the deck. Okay, so let's start with Poshta Design, which had a new release, and I was lucky to help Lizzie introduce her new release that came out on Saturday, and there were quite a few new spring products. The first of which was the Chevron Details add-on for the basic egg. So the egg is not new, but the die to cut the chevron stripes and cut the holes to put them on the egg is new. So I have 2 chevron eggs, and then there is a new embroidered egg details. This is number 4. She's done 3 before this, and each one is a different design on how to embroider the egg. So I use the same colors that I used on this for the floss on my embroidered egg. Another fun die set in the release is the spring flowers, and this one has lots of different options on how to layer these pieces together to get different looks. I made 1 large and 1 small, but there's lots of different options. It comes with an inspiration guide so you can see all the things you could do, and you may even come up with more than that. But my favorite detail on this is like this little stitch that just kind of holds this flower on, which I think is cute. I like that this design you can put the flower on without stitching around, but also you could add a stitch flower to if you wanted, because they're the same size. So there's lots of fun options with this, and Lizzie made some really beautiful samples with some different color palettes that I would not have thought of. Bees were also a theme for this release. So she had the Humming Hive Spring Flowers detail add-on, which is what I used on this hive, which cuts the flowers and the leaves and the holes for you to do that. And then there is the Busy Bee, which comes with 3 different sizes of bees. So there's the teeny tiny bee, the medium-sized bee, and then there's one that's probably about that big, probably about as big as the hive, which I did not stitch just yet. But I made a wreath with the little bees, and I just think they're so cute. I also used the bee on this card. She has a new Chevron cover plate, and so you cut this out of cardstock, and I did the stitching with the long stitches to create some more solid chevrons. For the little bee, I did experiment with cutting my fabric. So I used Terial Magic to stiffen the fabric, and it cuts through the die cut machine beautifully with the Terial Magic. And you're going to see a couple more examples of that. This is the same chevron cover plate, but I did a different stitching design, which I think is really cute because it looks like little tufts of grass. And as you can see, we also had ladybugs. I'm going to show you the ladybug set. This is little Dotty, and there are 3 sizes of ladybugs, just like the bees. So this is the big one, this is the middle size, and then there's a little tiny one, much like the bee. I just have not used that on a project just yet. And back to the hive. If you just use the Humming Hive without the floral details, so if you use the floral details, you stitch the lines of the hive, but the original Humming Hive set gives you a die to cut the segments of the hive, and then you can layer them and stack them. And this is again when I was playing with stiffening fabric. So this is a perfect project for scraps, by the way. Actually, this guy's fabric too, I forgot to say. It's kind of hard to tell because the pattern is just this little polka dots. They were kind of few and far between. This one I layered on the felt, so it has some thickness. So I just cut the wing out of felt and also out of fabric and layered them together and stitched it. And then these were just the fabric. Now they are stitched onto the large piece of felt, obviously, but you just start with the bottom and then overlap and work your way up. And I just think they turned out really cute. This one I stuck in some purple flowers that are in like a watering can on my dining room table. And then this one I made as a bowl filler. So they're both 2-sided because they can be picked up or whatever. So there's all the fun Poshta design dies that I've been playing with this week, trying to get my projects done. This is a really fun release. I have a big bee cut out of some fabric too. I really liked the fabric because it really kind of opened up all the options of what you can do with these dies. I don't really have a lot of haul to share. I got this stitching die. This is from Spellbinders. This is designed by my dear friend Nicole. She has another one too that is a chicken or hen. I actually already have a stitching die that is a hen, so I did not pick that one up, but this little bunny was just too cute. He is probably gonna maybe see some fun fabric. We'll see. I just think it'd be cute to make him look kind of vintagey as a cute little bowl filler. And to be honest, my favorite part about this is the tiny carrot. And Nicole made some really great projects. She made a little banner with these. So I'm looking forward to stitching some little bunnies. And that's really, oh, I did get one more thing haul, but I did get some pomegranate 32 count linen from Fabrics by Stephanie, and this is for the Ladybug Picnic chart, which I guess I could go ahead and talk about. I've kitted it up, obviously I haven't started. this chart calls for Weeks Dye Works threads, and I had some carrot, cayenne, grit. I don't think grits is what it calls for. It calls for whitewash, but I like grits. So I had a few, and then I looked at what the DMC equivalents are, because Kathy always shares the DMC equivalents. I looked at the DMC equivalents for the other colors, and then because I had an idea of what they sort of looked like, and I decided to just pull from my stash. So I have one color in cotton, the rest are classic colorworks, and what I really looked at with this is not that these two greens match what the DMC or the Weeks should be exactly, but this is the way I look at these charts sometimes, is I just need two greens that go together because she has two greens. So I picked my two greens. Same for the red. She's got, this is called for, which this is the darker red, which is kind of around the edges here. This would be the main red. This one is pretty close to the DMC. So that's kind of where I started. I really liked this color. I think this one was pretty close. I decided instead of to do like black, I picked more of a grayish black with the black coffee. Anyway, I just kind of picked my colors based on the picture, based on what I had, and matched it pretty close. It is not exact. I would definitely classify this as a Chari color conversion. But the pomegranate fabric was part of my haul this week. I'll go ahead and share my other chart that I have kitted up that I want to start on, since we're already talking about plans. This is a freebie chart from Sweet Wings Studio, but I thought it would be a great Easter stitch. He is risen, and I'll just tell you now that the colors I picked out are not the called for colors, but I was just looking again at the colors of the chart. I think that possibly the dark purple might be the same, but I don't think anything else is, to be quite honest. I just pulled what I liked. I did look at what the called for colors were, but like the orange, I wanted it to be a little brighter. So I just changed things up, and I'm going to stitch this on some small count or a high count for smaller stitches. So this is 40 count paper bark by Fox and Rabbit. So that's what I have pulled for He Is Risen. I think this will be a pretty quick stitch, actually, but I think all these colors look really good together. All right, so new starts. I have one, which is Call Me Crafty. So I'll get out my breakdown of the chart, and I'll pull up my colors here so we can take a look. So my first week I stitched part A, and now I'm working on part B. I did go to the stitching tables with some friends last night for the Lindy Stitches Start-a-thon, and I got all of my lamp and tools done and started working on my quilt blocks. And as I talked about before, I want to do rainbow quilt blocks to pull more color into this stitch. And so here are the colors I settled on. So what I'm going to do is, I already have a purple quilt block. I did my orange. This one I'm going to do in the same aqua colors that I've used here. Let's see, show you here. I'm running out of space. And then, so this one will be aqua here. This one is going to be my two pinky red colors, and this one will be the two greens. So the orange, yellow, the two greens, and the purples are colors that are not used in the chart that I pulled just for the quilt blocks. And there is a little stitching detail. You can see the red in the chart. I'll probably do white on all of them so that they all pull together. So that's You Say I'm Crafty. This is on 32 count. What is this one? Antique white. I have a pretty big piece, so I can stitch them all on there. But yeah, that's how far I've gotten. So I might be able to finish up my quilt blocks today and then, or tonight, and then I'll have part B done. And I'll be ready to move on to part C next week sometime. The other whip that I have, it's not a new start. Oh, do I have, yeah. Is 17th, also by Hands On Design. This was in all of my St. Patty's Day stitching, but this one didn't get done before St. Patty's Day. It's a little larger than the other ones I was working on, but I have made pretty good progress. So I'm stitching the sides, you know, it's all one long stitch. So I've got like stems and back stitching, a little bit of the, there's another purple color. I've got all the back stitching to work on through here, but I do have the whole thing. This is the whole length. There's a bunch of Smyrna crosses across the top I need to work on, back stitching, and then I also need to finish off this darker purple, work my way back. And then after that, then I'll start at the top, which I haven't started at all, but it's coming along. I'm going to keep stitching on this and try to get it finished up. I don't want it to just get put aside and forgotten. I was looking to see if that sticker was still on here, but it is not. Oh, here's my sticker. So this is on 32 count platinum. And I am using mostly the called for colors. I think it is a mix of the DMC called for and the Weeks Dye Works called for. And I think when it came to the flesh tone on the hands, I just pulled something that I liked. I don't know if it's correct or not. Oh, I also will need to do all the back stitching around the sides to do the mattress finish. Okay, finishes. I finished up this cute little bag from Shepherd's Bush. This is Grateful Heart. It is a kit that you buy. It already has the bag all sewn together. So you stitch it in hand, which I know is not something I do all the time. So it takes a little patience for me, but it's small and I think it's adorable. And it also comes with the little tiny buttons. So that is the Grateful Heart little pouch from Shepherd's Bush. Let's see, another one I finished is the little vote button from Summer House Stitchworks. Obviously, I stitched the United States one, and I am going to be finishing this very soon because it is for a friend. I bought some ribbons to put around it, so I just need to lace it onto a circle. I already cut my circle this morning, so I'm ready to get going on that and do the ribbons and finish that one up. But I think it turned out really cute, so I'm glad to get that one done. And then the other thing I finished was Simply Spring. So let me find the chart. All of them are in the same bag. Here's Simply Spring. I have to admit that as I was stitching, I was like, this one looks a lot like the fall one, which is on the same piece of fabric. Until I got to the pink flowers and the purple. Then it really started to look like spring. But at the time, I just had the letters done, which looked very similar. I was working on the house, which is similar in color. A tree. So until I got the reds and the robins and the door of the house, and I got the purples, and then when I did the satin stitch for the flowers, then it really kind of finished it off nicely. So that's Simply Spring. This is on, I believe it's Prairie Land is the, I always keep this in here. Yep, 32 count Prairie Land 5 Atomic Ranch fabrics. And as you saw, I have winter and fall as well. So I have one quadrant left for summer. This is summer, so I'll be starting on it soon. And I've already kitted up my colors for summer. Some of the colors in these are the same, so I've just keep them all together. Like here's the colors that were used in the other ones. So once I get summer done, I'll break apart my kit and put my threads away. But I've just kept them together because some of them use some of the same colors. All right, let's do giveaways. I have not heard from my winner from my last floss tube. I'm going to give it another couple weeks, and if I don't hear from them, I will choose another winner, and those were for the bee charts. The one I have from last video was the More Chocolate Bunnies and the Heart and Hand Square Dance, the April, May, and June with some Ada to go with it. And I will put the winner up here. I'm going to say it's P Happy, but it only has one P. 2451. If this is your comment, please email me at the email listed below so I can get this out in the mail to you. Today's giveaway is given to me by Kathy at Hands On Design to share with all of y'all. So I have 3 Call Me Crafty charts to give away. So please be 18, please live in the United States, and please use the word crafty somewhere in your comment. Leave your comments by April 13th and I will pick a winner. Actually, I'll pick 3 winners. And then I'm going to have a giveaway in my next floss tube that kind of coordinates with this. That's a little hint, but I'm not going to do that one today. It's more about finishing. And Chantel sent that one, so that's just a little hint. So thank you so much for stopping by today. I did remember one thing I was going to actually say. If you're new here, I'm a paper crafter. I work for Lawn Fawn, and I design little stitching patterns to go on the Lawn Fawn embroidery hoop die. You may already know that, but I'm actually going to be teaching a class in Michigan at Scrappy Chic in Michigan, and I'll put a link down in the description below. An in-person class. I'm a little nervous. I've never done it before, but I think it'll be fun. And we are doing stitching on the Lawn Fawn embroidery hoop. So there are 2 classes. Each class has 2 different card designs. We will stitch them in class. There's some exclusive patterns that I made just for class, so it's really fun. So we are doing 2 classes. I'll put the graphics up over here. We are doing Smitten in the Sun and Sensational Smiles. So if you are into that kind of thing, I hope you will come and join me if you live in the area. Again, I'll put a link to the classes and all the information below. So yeah, I think that is all I have to share today. I have a couple trips planned in the next couple weekends, so I don't know how much stitching I'll get done. I hope to take some stitching with me on at least one of those trips. And yeah, I've got a lot of things on my list that I want to start stitching in April. So we'll see. Thank you so much for stopping by today. Remember to tag me if you are stitching along with me on the craft room stitch along. Have a good day. Bye.